Coming up on Fulton Today, Fulton's top government and justice officials address mental illness both inside and outside of the courtroom. We'll explain. And residents speak out about the future of the Turner Fields community. Fulton Today starts right now. Welcome to Fulton Today, everyone. Leaders of the busiest trial court in the state host hundreds of their colleagues for a serious conversation about how to address the staggering number of people with mental illness who find themselves behind bars. Now, the Fulton County Superior Court took the lead on the Metro Atlanta Justice Mental Health Symposium, and FGTV's Priscilla Ortega has the story.
Mental illness is something that the medical community and governments deal with nationwide. So Fulton County Superior Court took the lead in bringing stakeholders together to discuss what strategies are really working across the country. Law enforcement, judges, policymakers, and educators gathered in one room to discuss a problem plaguing this country.
What can we do to better address the mentally ill who are not only a part of our criminal justice system, but they are very, very visible in terms of our homeless population?
The goal of the Metro Atlanta Justice Mental Health Symposium was to bring community partners together. The group gathered at Metropolitan State College to discuss ways to properly treat mentally ill individuals in the justice system so they don't keep coming back.
Basically get them paired with resources so that hopefully it will have a positive effect on declining the recidivism of individuals that have unaddressed mental illness and untreated substance abuse.
Organizers say across the nation, about 2 million people with serious mental illnesses are admitted to jails. Their statistics suggest that those individuals tend to stay longer and have a higher risk of returning.
Our counties are spending over $72 billion a year to incarcerate people. It's making it impossible for us to build new roads, new hospitals, and new schools.
Some ideas used in other counties include crisis intervention units and conducting mental health risk assessments as soon as inmates are admitted. The symposium covered all aspects of the justice system, including juvenile offenders, and how to help citizens find housing once they return to society. Now, the group plans to meet again and talk about ways to implement what they discussed during this two-day symposium. Reporting for FGTV, I'm Priscilla Ortega.
Thank you very much. Meanwhile, Superior Court congratulates its latest graduates of the Behavioral Health Treatment Program. The special group of men and women were applauded for their life-changing decisions.
I learned a new way of thinking. I learned patience. I learned to negotiate. I learned to respect others. I learned to be accountable.
These graduates, who all had a brush with the law, have successfully completed an 18-week intensive outpatient rehabilitation program.
Judge Downs and the clinicians all set goals throughout the course of the 18 months, which have helped me to better my life today from 18 months ago, but also set a path for me moving forward.
And for the graduates and their family, it is a new opportunity.
You know, we teach people how to live with diabetes and cancer, AIDS and stuff like that, but oftentimes we overlook the mental challenges. So to have a program that's geared towards helping people deal with their mental illness, it's phenomenal. We're seeing there's a lot of great people come to the program who are doing big things. There's a lot of great people, famous people who have mental illnesses. And so we start here in the community and build things up. I mean, we can do a lot of things.
Superior Court also operates drug court and a veterans court. The court offers these alternative sentencing programs to get the clients the help they need and to reduce the number of people in the Fulton County Jail. Fulton commissioners asked the public for their input about the future of the property surrounding Turner Field. Chairman John Eaves, along with Commissioners Marvin Arrington Jr. and Bob Ellis, engaged the residents to hear their concerns about the property. Both Arrington and Ellis are members of the Atlanta Fulton Recreation Authority, the entity that oversees the stadium property. The Braves will be vacating Turner Field in December of 2016 to move to their new home in Cobb County. The concern is what will happen to the area once the team leaves.
We have a lot more in common than we have in opposition. We all want a grocery store. That's easy. We all want safe streets. We all want retail. We all want to get MARTA here. We want to have public transportation. So the things that we all want are way far outweigh our differences.
We're going to take this up as a board in terms of sharing with our board what we heard tonight, and I believe that the board will ultimately take a position in terms of we want to make sure that the citizens of this community's concerns are reflected in our approval process.
Tonight was so important to really just listen to the residents, and I think we heard maybe 50, 60 folks come up, and just some general themes I think that were important for us to hear as we began to evaluate, kind of the options that we're going to be looking at in the coming months.
This was an opportunity for us to listen to the community residents, the residents of Summerhill, Mechanicsville, and Peopletown, and to find out what they are interested in. Tonight they told us pretty frankly what they want to see in their community, and they also told us pretty frankly some of the things they do not want to see.
The Braves called the 87-acre Turner Field site home for 19 years. The Recreation Authority had announced that it would start the bidding process on the property last month. The Fulton Board of Commissioners formally adopted a resolution asking the authority to seek public comment and community input regarding the Turner Field site. A number of organizations that service children and youth hear about proposed changes to the county's human services and fresh grants. Now, Frankie Atwater is the Director of Housing and Community Development. Sir, welcome to Fulton Today.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here in the Atlanta region, Fulton County region, to help to increase services to our residents.
So your team has been hosting this informational session. So what are the proposed changes?
We're presenting a new program. It's called the Community Services Program. Now, what that program does is it opens the door for additional opportunities for units of for nonprofit organizations to come in and tell Fulton County how they're going to deliver services to its residents. This new program replaces the Fresh and Human Services Program. However, understanding it does replace it, but all of the components in Fresh and Human Services are also now in the Community Services Program. So you're not losing the components. However, but what we want to see out of you is that we want to see you present to us a way in which you can provide services, again, to our residents, down to exactly what type of service you're providing.
And Frankie, why the need for the changes?
We thought it was necessary to look at a way in which we can deliver a program or provide a program that can increase funding and also provide for more accountability for those funds that go out the door. We need to report back to our citizens exactly what type of services we're providing, not just a number of people we're serving, but what services are we providing to them.
About how many organizations are funded through the Human Services or Fresh grants?
Fresh and Human Service Grant estimate about 170 grantees receive funds under that program. With the new program, it'll be a reduction. However, the reduction is a part of collaboration. We're encouraging groups to collaborate and come together for funding.
And finally, your team sees these changes as a good thing.
Well, I think it's a nice new opportunity. We're starting to notice around the country that even at the federal level, they're encouraging collaboration. There's a lot of duplication of services going on. And I think we can better address some of these issues at the county, even at the state level, if we began to collaborate and reach out and provide and find new partners.
Frankie Atwater with Housing and Community Development. Again, thank you for your time.
Well, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Now, organizations can begin making their appeals for funding during a series of hearings in January. If you have any questions about the process, you can contact the county's Office of Grants and Community Partnerships. The numbers are right there on your screen. As the nation honors its veterans this week, Fulton County's fire department recognizes a special group of first responders. These firefighters at Station 5 are all military veterans. They all talked about the similarities in the two jobs.
The structure, camaraderie is all here. from the same thing from the military to here, if not better here. And it's just coming from one family to another.
It's probably one of the best choices I made, so I'm not, I don't doubt it like ever, but yeah, like when I first got out, I did not want to be an emergency responder, but then now that I'm in it, I love it.
Fire department is sort of paramilitary structured, so you have that brotherhood, sisterhood here, so it really transfers over from the military. It makes it an easy transition. There's certain lingos we use that, if you've been in the military, you just kind of, you know what it is. You don't have to explain it to them. And then, like I said, it makes life a lot easier, makes it more fun.
Our supervisor was a supervisor in the Marine Corps. There's 3 of us that were in the Marines and 1 that was in the Army. It means a lot because we trust each other. We've been through some of the same things as, even though he's in the Army. We poke fun of him all the time, but we've all been through the same thing. You're instilled, throughout your whole career, honor, courage, commitment.
The group was honored as a part of Veterans Day.
Having a crew of all veterans is a good thing because I don't have to worry about their conduct, their camaraderie. They know what they should do and when to do it, and I usually don't have to give them an order to do something but one time, and most of the times it's just a suggestion and they beat me to it and knock it out because that's just the way they were brought up in the military, and they brought that with them here to the fire department.
Sometimes these first responders mix their fire uniforms and gear with their military apparel. For many of the first responders, fire service is another form of military service, in this case, to keep the residents of Fulton County safe. And still to come, Fulton pays tribute to some icons. We'll tell you who they are in our district by district coverage next. Fulton joins in the salute of civil rights icons, and seniors get into the fall season in a very creative way. Here's this week's district by district coverage. We begin with Chairman John Eves as he honors legends from the civil rights movement. The at-large commissioner extended remarks on behalf of Fulton County government at the Grady Health Summit. Bernice King, daughter of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., served as mistress of ceremony, as many of her father's soldiers in the movement were honored. Some of the icons included C.T. Vivian and Zernona Clayton.
You had these historical figures who shared in brief some of their struggles in terms of promoting nonviolence and how that was successful in terms of a holistic society, and how that practice or that philosophy is still applicable today.
The Civil Rights Leaders Breakfast included a tribute to the late Julian Bond. The event was hosted by the Fulton DeKalb Hospital Authority. We will have more on the 4th Annual Health Summit later in the show. In District 4, seniors get into the fall season by sharing in some creative fun. Members of the Harriet G. Darnell Senior Multipurpose Facility participated in a pumpkin painting contest. The participants used various colors and accessories to make their pumpkins stand out from the rest.
I think it's a lot of fun because it shows our creativity, and we have fun. These ladies enjoy each other, and we enjoy doing this because this is something that we're really artful.
Pumpkins are the unofficial symbol of the start of the fall season. District 5 seniors learn how to protect themselves and their community. As a part of the Sheriff's Office Senior Safety Conference, a group of panelists met at the Bowden Senior Multipurpose Facility to help keep the seniors safe. The conference included safety tips in the neighborhood and on the road.
And this is just awareness that we do every year to alert them to their people out there trying to prey on them, P-R-E-Y. And we want them to be alert and be aware of the surroundings, what's going on around them, and help them from becoming victims of crime.
I think I was most interested in just seeing anything that could help seniors be more safe, such as lighting, without falls, being careful when they are walking on rugs and different things like that.
Because the holiday season can be particularly bad for scams, thefts, and break-ins, public safety officials offered warnings about everything from giving out personal information on the phone to shopping alone. And finally, in District 6, residents voiced their public safety concerns to Fulton County Police and other county leaders. The District 6 office sponsored the public hearing following feedback from residents about some of the issues happening in their community. Residents expressed concern about response times and quality of life crimes, but also offer to partner with all law enforcement agencies.
We've been working hard to make this community the best community ever, because we understand we have problems, but we need to come up with solutions and come out and unite together and work together, have an understanding of what the police can do, what they can't do, what we can do to help them. Let us help them do their job.
What I will do is take this information back to the chief of police, express to him what some of the concerns are. We'll sit down along with the rest of the command staff and try to come up with some answers and come up with some strategic planning to address some of these things.
Commissioner Darnell is hosting another public hearing on November 16th. To get more information, you can visit the District 6 website at emmadarnell.com. Now you can catch more of your commissioners at work all this week with a rebroadcast of the Board of Commissioners meeting right here on FGTV. And when we come back, exploring the connection between violence and your health. Stay with us. More now on that major health summit that we shared with you earlier in the show. Now, the focus this year was on violence in America. Experts say that there is a direct correlation between violence and one's mental and physical health. FGTV's Lynn Vaughn has our story.
Judges, the sheriff, and policymakers heard an earful from community members who voiced their concerns about what they say has become an epidemic: violence in the community.
Our communities are being held hostage by violence, and we must explore ways to take back our communities from this epidemic.
The Fulton DeKalb Hospital Authority, which oversees Grady Health Systems, sponsored the Health Summit. Organizers say all too often Grady Hospital staff see too many victims of violence in their emergency room.
While we have a number of challenges that we face and we address at Grady Memorial Hospital, violence is an issue that we see so dominant in our emergency rooms. The results of violence, those who've been shot, those who've been cut and stabbed and beaten, and the domestic abuse that we see.
When we look at the data, we are killing ourselves in our own communities. And the reality of what we need to do is to address the cause of this problem, the cause of the violence.
During the town hall style meeting, panelists talked about the many illnesses that can result from excessive community violence.
Many of the panelists, many of the people today focused on post-traumatic stress syndrome, violence in the communities, and mental health issues.
The Fulton County Sheriff says the age of individuals exhibiting violent behavior is getting lower.
The inmates are getting younger. 1/3 still 17 to 24. We have to separate the 17-year-olds out of the general population. And we now have 2 cell blocks with 17-year-olds, and it appears to be growing.
According to mentalhealth.gov, you can detect the first signs of half of all mental health disorders before a person turns 14 years old. Panelists say early intervention is key, as well as talking about solutions and not just issues. That's what panel members say they will continue to do. Reporting for FGTV, I'm Lynn Vaughn.
Thank you very much, Lynn. Well, it is that time of year again to enroll for insurance coverage with the Healthcare Marketplace. The Atlanta Enrollment Assistance Center put on a special presentation during the latest Diabetes Community Action Coalition meeting. The coalition says it's important for everybody to get covered so they have proper access to care. An insurance navigator says there is a lot of financial assistance available through the Healthcare Marketplace.
You can also save directly on your co-pays, deductibles, and your out-of-pocket maximum through what we call a cost-sharing reduction as well. And the only way to get those types of financial aid is by applying online through healthcare.gov through the Health Insurance Marketplace.
Those who don't have health insurance coverage could be subject to a penalty if they don't enroll by the January 31st deadline. To get one-on-one help, you can call 404-623-9494. 888-1088. Medical providers take over the government center to make sure that Fulton County employees have the preventative care they need. At the health fair, vendors set up dozens of booths so that employees could get information on a number of medical services. One company that specializes in colonoscopy said the test should be done every 10 years starting at the age of 50. But African Americans are more at risk for certain diseases and should get tested started at 45.
We have our biometric screening going on. We have representatives here talking about health risk assessments. We have massage therapists, chiropractors. We have Vein Atlanta here. So we have a lot of vendors here that can help employees with health issues. We have our coach Debbie on site and our coach Tashina. So we have a plethora of different vendors here to offer information to our employees when it comes to their health and their wellness.
Blue Cross Blue Shield and the Employee Wellness Committee sponsored the event. It's a part of the county's initiative to have a healthy workforce so that less money is spent on insurance coverage and more can be spent on programs and services. And still to come on Fulton Today, a look at a very special art exhibit. Stay with us. The county's partnership with the Hawks Foundation is resulting in some great opportunities for residents. The Hawks already renovated a basketball court at Welcome Mall Park and held a youth camp. The director of Parks and Recreation says the Hawks Foundation is looking at hosting more camps and renovating more courts. There is even a training session in the works for the department's volunteer coaches.
The fact that the Hawks are going to help partner with us and do clinics for those coaches to help them, support them, give them some additional skills and training so that when they're working with children in our community, they have that much more effort behind them to try to make sure that they're a success.
Tony says the publicity from this partnership also piqued the interest of other private companies, so more public-private partnerships are well in the works. And finally, artists overcome their disabilities to create an exhibit that show off both their skills and their struggles. The Invisible Visible exhibit is now on display at the Abernathy Arts Center in Sandy Springs. The artists who took part have hidden medical or mental disabilities, including diabetes and hearing loss. The curator wanted to create a space that starts the conversation about all disabilities.
Very few venues showcase invisible disabilities such as deafness or diabetes or epilepsy or social anxiety, bulimia, all of these things, that the challenges that people face, and as artists are particularly interesting because they often inform the work that we do.
The exhibit features artists from the U.S. as well as Canada and South Africa. It will remain open until November 27th. For information, you can go to fultonarts.org. And before we go, our reminder that we'd like to connect with you online. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and of course, anytime on our YouTube channel. Well, that does it for this edition of Fulton Today. Thank you so much for watching. Join us each week for news around and about Fulton County.